Hello, Toon Army. Hope you're all doing brilliantly. Today, we've got some proper good stuff to talk about, starting with a name that's been floating around St. James Park for a while now, Marc Guéhi, a player we almost signed, but didn't. And guess what? Even he's now talking about how impressed he is with our own Dan Burn. Let's get into it. So here's the backstory, lads. Last summer, Newcastle United made a solid attempt to bring Marc Guéhi from Crystal Palace. Paul Mitchell was working on it, trying to get the deal over the line, but Palace weren't having it unless we matched their price, and our board wasn't willing to meet that valuation. So the deal stalled, and Guéhi stayed put at Selhurst Park. A bit frustrating, yeah, but as always, trust in Eddie. And speaking of Eddie Howe, instead of pushing further in the market, he looked inward. He stuck with our own boys at the back, Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, two warriors who've truly stepped up. It's paid off big time, especially for Dan Burn, who's been playing out of his skin this season, and now even Marc Guéhi's giving him props. During the international break, England faced Albania and Latvia. Burn made his England debut against Albania, massive moment. Guéhi had to sit that one out on the bench. The following game, Guéhi played, but after the match he was honest. He said he wasn't bitter, just motivated, and what caught everyone's attention? He openly praised Dan Burn, saying he's been doing extremely well at Newcastle. That's high praise from someone we once wanted in our black and white army. Let that sink in for a sec. Dan Burn, a lad who's been doubted by some in the past, now earning respect from his rivals, representing England and scoring in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. He's living the dream, and he's doing it while wearing the badge of the greatest football club in the world, Newcastle United. But here's where it gets interesting, and it might make you raise your eyebrows a bit. Newcastle aren't done with Guéhi just yet. According to The Telegraph, we're still tracking him. His contract with Palace is winding down. He'll be entering the last 12 months soon. That means a transfer this summer is more than likely. And we're ready. If the stars align, Guéhi and Burn could end up as teammates. Not just for England, but at St. James's Park as well. Looking ahead, with Sven Botman expected to be fully fit next season, and Newcastle aiming to strengthen our backline even more, adding someone like Guéhi could take our defense to another level. Imagine that. Botman, Burn, Guéhi, Schär. That's a brick wall with black and white stripes. Alright, that's part one wrapped up for today. It's always class to see our players being recognized, and Dan Burn's story just keeps getting better. Massive respect to the big man. Let me know if you want me to continue with part 2, where we talk about Moise Kean, Alexander Isak, and the big summer transfer buzz. Shall we go on? Foro. Now then, Toon Army, let's talk strikers. Because while we've all been buzzing from that Carabao Cup win, the summer window is creeping closer, and things are starting to heat up. This next bit is big. It's about Alexander Isak, our number 14, the man who's been lighting up the Premier League, and what could be a huge move brewing behind the scenes. Right now, Isak is one of the best forwards in Europe, no doubt. He's bagged 19 Premier League goals this season. That's 50 goals in just 77 appearances since joining us. Madness. He's quick, clinical, and fits Howe's system like a glove. But you know what happens when you've got one of the best? The big dogs start sniffing around. Arsenal, Liverpool, even Barcelona have been linked. And while Isak himself has said he's focused on Newcastle, and we love him for that, let's be real. The Champions League talk is turning heads. Eddie Howe's made it crystal clear. He wants to keep his star players. And honestly, who wouldn't? Isak's a game changer. Eddie said, "We have to keep our best players. I wouldn't swap him for anyone." That's love right there. But football's a business too. If a $100 million bid drops on the table, you better believe there'll be some tough conversations. And Newcastle? Well, they're not being caught off guard. That's where Moise Kean comes in. Remember him from Everton? He's now banging in goals for Fiorentina, 15 in Serie A and another 4 in the UEFA Conference League this season. That's 19 goals in total, matching Isak's tally. And according to Calciomercato, Newcastle have already held initial talks with Kean's agent about a possible summer move. He's only 25, just like Isak. This season has been Kean's best yet. He even scored twice against Germany for Italy during the international break. The lad's flying, and he's finally showing the consistency people have been waiting for. Newcastle are thinking smart. If Isak leaves, Kean could slot straight in. And here's the kicker. Kean has a release clause of just $52 million. 43.4 mil, that's active between July 1st and 15th. That's less than half of what we'd possibly get for Isak. It's a smart bit of business. We wouldn't just be replacing a star. We'd be reinvesting for the future and possibly turning a tidy profit in the process. Keane isn't just a plan B. He's a proper option. Strong, fast, and now with goals to his name. And he's got something to prove in England, which is always a good motivator. Isak, for now, is still our man. He said there are no talks of leaving, and his head's in the game. He wants Champions League football with Newcastle, and so do we. But it's wise that the club is planning both ways. Whether he stays or goes, the project continues, and the ambition is there. So lads and lasses, no matter what happens this summer, the Toon is in safe hands. We're building for the future, but we're living in a golden moment right now. Cup in the cabinet, players performing, and big moves on the horizon. That's what it means to be part of the best club in the world, Newcastle United. Thanks for staying with us to the end of this update. You lot are the heart of this club, and we'll keep bringing you all the inside scoop, always in black and white. Until next time, take care, stay proud, and away the lads.